Okay, let's dive in. Today, we're really exploring some deep waters, the theoretical foundations of the yoga described in Arthur Avalon's The Serpent Power.
That's right. We're focusing specifically on section 7, pages 257 to 316, where Avalon really lays out the philosophical underpinnings.
Yeah, and our goal really is to unpack these ideas, consciousness, energy, this concept of a subtle body, to try and make sense of the intricate system presented there.
Exactly. It's quite a dense framework, but understanding it is key to understanding the practice itself, according to the text. The ideas are really interconnected.
Totally. So, jumping right in, the sources talk about consciousness having like two aspects, one transcendent and one embodied.
Precisely. They talk about Paramatma, that's the pure, limitless, sort of bodiless consciousness, the ultimate spirit, you could say.
Okay.
And then there's Jivatma, that's the same consciousness, but appearing limited because it's associated with a specific mind and body, embodied consciousness.
Right. But underlying both is Chit, pure consciousness.
Yes, Chit, or Samvit. That's presented as the ultimate irreducible reality. Everything, absolutely everything, is said to arise from this pure consciousness through its own inherent power, which is called Shakti.
Ah, Shakti. So is this the classic Śiva and Śakti concept, where Śiva is the awareness and Shakti is the energy or the action?
That's a very common way to understand it, and it fits what's described here. They're presented as inseparable, two aspects of the same thing.
Like fire and its heat.
Exactly like that. You can't separate them. Shiva is called Shaktiman, the holder of the power, and Shakti is that power. But they're fundamentally one. One static, the potential, and the other kinetic, the expression.
Okay, that makes sense. So if that's the ultimate reality, the kind of pure potential, how do we get the world, all of this stuff, this diversity?
Good question. That's where the concept of Maya comes into play. Maya is described as Shakti's specific power to, veil the pure consciousness and project the appearance of a world of separate forms and names.
So it's like a creative power, not just illusion.
Right. It's the power that makes manifestation possible. The text calls it the form of the formless. It suggests the world exists because consciousness has a kind of inherent tendency towards experience, towards worldly enjoyment.
So the universe isn't static, it's constantly unfolding, an evolution.
Exactly. The term used is Vikriti diversity, emerging from an undifferentiated state called Prakriti. And this whole evolution encompassing mind and matter is driven by Shakti.
And the qualities of this manifested world, that's the gunas.
Yes, the three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamasa. They are fundamental qualities or modes of this manifesting energy, Prakriti. They determine the nature of things and, crucially, how much of the underlying pure consciousness is revealed or obscured. Sattva reveals, Rajas activates, tamas obscures.
It's a fascinating model.
Yeah.
Everything is consciousness and energy in different states. Okay, so that's the big picture of the cosmology. How does this translate down to the human being, to the body? It's clearly more than just flesh and bone in this system.
Oh, absolutely. The human body, particularly the subtle body, is seen as a microcosm of that entire cosmic process. It contains the same principles, the same energies.
And that's where the chakras come in. The energy centers.
Precisely. The chakras. They're described as specific centers, often visualized as lotuses, located within the physical body, but really functioning on a subtle level.
Functioning how?
The text describes them almost like vortexes, points where primal energy prana from the subtle or astral realms flows into the physical system, animating it. They are key nodal points of consciousness and energy.
And there's a definite map of these, not just vague ideas.
A very specific map. There are 6 main centers stacked along the spine. Muladhara at the base, then Svadhisthana, Manipura, Anahata, Vishuddha, and Ajna between the brows.
And then the one at the top.
And then the Sahasrara, the 1,000-petaled lotus at the crown, which is considered the ultimate center, beyond the main 6.
Okay, let's quickly place those. Muladhara is base of spine.
Yes. Svadhisthana in the sacral area, Manipura at the navel, Anahata is the heart center, Vishuddha in the throat, and Ajna, the third eye, between the eyebrows. Sahasrara is right at the crown.
Got it. And these centers aren't isolated, are they? There are channels connecting them.
Right, the nadis. Described as subtle channels or tubes for prana, the vital force. Think of them like pathways for this energy.
And the main ones are?
The most important is Sushumna, the central channel running up through the spinal cord, metaphorically speaking, then Ida on the left and Pingala on the right, which are often depicted as spiraling around Sushumna.
And keeping these channels clear is important for the yoga.
Absolutely critical. Purifying the nadis, especially opening sushumna, is a prerequisite for the main practice described here, which involves Kuṇḍalinī.
Ah, yes, Kuṇḍalinī Shakti. The serpent power itself. What is that, according to these sources?
It's described as this immense, divine, cosmic power that lies dormant, coiled like a serpent at the base of the spine in the Muladhara chakra.
And the yoga is about waking it up.
Exactly. The specific practice, often called Laya-Yoga in this context, is focused on awakening this Kuṇḍalinī energy and guiding it upward through that central channel, the sushumna.
And what happens as it moves up?
As it ascends, it's said to pierce through each chakra. This piercing is understood as a process of dissolution, or laya. The limitations, the specific modes of consciousness and elemental energies associated with each lower chakra are dissolved back into the rising power.
So it's like a journey back to the source.
Precisely. Dissolving the layers of manifestation, the limitations of the individual self, the jivatma, to ultimately unite with the pure consciousness, Shiva, in the Sahasrara. That union is the goal.
The sources, as you mentioned, go into a lot of detail. There are tables linking things together.
Yes, incredibly detailed correspondences. For example, take Muladhara, the base chakra.
Okay.
The tables link it to the earth element, the tattva of solidity. It's described with 4 petals, each associated with a specific Sanskrit letter, a varna. Its specific sound, the seed mantra or bija, is lam, and its associated color is often given as yellow.
Wow. And higher up, say the heart.
Anahata, the heart chakra. Linked to the air tattva. It has 12 petals, again with specific letters. Its bija mantra is yam. The tables also list associated deities, the shape of the elemental region or mandala within the chakra, other tattvas that get dissolved there. It's a complex, interwoven system.
So each chakra is like a whole little world reflecting cosmic principles.
That's a good way to put it. A microcosm containing macrocosmic energies and stages of consciousness.
Okay, this is intricate. Let's shift slightly. Another thing that seems really fundamental in these texts is sound. Śabda.
Yes, Śabda is huge here. It's not just audible sound. It's presented as the fundamental creative principle behind both sound and the object or meaning it represents, Artha.
So sound creates reality, in a way.
In this system, yes. Manifested sound and form arise together from an ultimate, unmanifest sound principle called Śabda-Brahman, the Brahman, as sound.
And there are different levels of this sound.
Exactly. The texts describe a progression. Parashabda is the highest, transcendent, unmanifest sound pure potential. Then Pashanti, which is like the first seeing or ideation of form, pre-verbal.
Still internal.
Still internal, yes. Then comes Madhyama, which is closer to thought, like the subtle mental vibration before speech. And finally, Vaikari, which is the gross, uttered speech that we hear and use.
So our spoken words are just the very tip of the iceberg.
Absolutely. The crudest manifestation of a much deeper sound process originating in pure consciousness.
And how does this intricate sound theory connect back to the chakras? You mentioned letters on the petals.
Deeply connected. Those letters, the varnas of the Sanskrit alphabet, distributed on the chakra petals, represent the fundamental sound units, the building blocks of all mantras in all language. Their presence there signifies that the potential for all differentiated manifestation through name and form resides within these energy centers.
Which leads us to the bija mantras, like lam and yam. They're not just random sounds.
Definitely not. They are considered the seed sounds, the most potent condensed sonic forms of the specific tattva element and devata deity associated with each chakra. They are vibrational keys, essentially.
Keys to unlock the energy of the chakra.
That's the idea. Using mantra, particularly these bija mantras, is a core practice. It's not just about chanting. It's about using focus, sound vibration to resonate with, awaken, and influence these specific energies within the subtle body, and ultimately to help rouse Kuṇḍalinī itself.
So mantra works directly on the mind and energy.
Yes. The sources emphasize this link between mantra, mind manas, prana, energy, and the creative cosmic power. By working with sound consciously, you're engaging with the fundamental forces of creation and dissolution described in the system.
Okay, so let's try and tie this all together. We have consciousness as dual, but ultimately one. We have the subtle body as this internal map with chakras and nadis. We have Kuṇḍalinī as the latent power, and sound, Śabda, and mantra as both a creative force and a practical tool. What's the overarching synthesis here? What are these theories for?
Well, the synthesis is really seeing the human being not as separate from the cosmos, but as a perfect miniature reflection of it. All the principles of reality, consciousness, energy, the elements, are right here, within our own subtle structure.
So the journey isn't out there, it's in here.
Exactly. And these theoretical bases provide the map for that inner journey. The practical application, the Laya-Yoga, uses this map. It's a method to consciously reverse the process of manifestation, to dissolve the limitations associated with the body, mind, and ego by guiding that coiled energy, Kuṇḍalinī, back up through the chakras.
Using tools like mantra and meditation on the elements associated with the chakras.
Yes. Using those tools to facilitate the ascent, dissolving each level back into the energy as it rises, ultimately aiming for that state of Laya, dissolution, or absorption into the pure, unlimited consciousness of Śiva in the Sahasrara.
So understanding this theory isn't just academic. It's seen as necessary for the practice itself. The body, both physical and subtle, is the actual vehicle for this whole process.
Absolutely. It's the arena where consciousness manifests and where it can consciously return to its source. The theories explain the layout of the arena and the rules of the game, so to speak. They provide the why and how for the practice.
It's really quite a comprehensive system. So we've taken a deep dive into this theoretical framework from Avalon's text, the nature of reality, the intricate map of the subtle body, the power of Kuṇḍalinī, and the crucial role of sound. It paints a picture of the human as a microcosm, holding the potential for cosmic realization.
It really does. A dynamic interplay of consciousness and energy where we are not just observers, but active participants with a potential path inward.
So reflecting on this model, this idea of the body as a map, of energy centers holding different states of consciousness, of a power that can ascend, how does hearing about this system resonate with you? Does it challenge your own ideas about mind, body, and energy, or does it perhaps echo something you've considered? What really stands out to you from this exploration of the foundations of serpent power?